All right, here we go. This is lesson 4 and 5. So unit 5, lesson 4 and 5. We're going to be writing percents as fractions and decimals, and we can order rational numbers. So as you look here, we can go from a fraction to a decimal by taking 3 and dividing it by 4. So again, if I turn it into a decimal, 0, this gives me 7, 28 minus 2, 0, 75. 0.75 to get to a percent, you multiply by 100, which moves your decimal place over, and you get 75%. Going the same way, again, if I have 40%, I divide by 100, put it over 100, get a decimal of 0.4 after I simplify. And then again, that would be 4/10, which if you simplified would give you 2/5. So to start, percentages are always out of 100. So I'm going to start with 5 over 100. I know I can simplify this by dividing the top and the bottom by 5 and getting 120. 125% is going to be more than 100. So I'm going to take as many groups of 100 as I can out. So that's only going to be 1. So I know that my answer is going to have a whole unit of 1. And then I have 25 over 100. What does 25 and 100 have in common? They have 25. So this is going to equal 1 and 1/4. Write each number as a percent. Okay, so again, if I have a decimal, all I have to do is multiply by 100, which moves my decimal point 2 spots. So this is 33.3%. 7 over 80, I have to divide it. So 7 divided by 80 is going to be a 0. Still, got to add another one. How many times does 80 go into 700? Let's see here. It's going to be 8. So we're going to get 8. Let's see here. 8 times 80 is 640. So when I subtract that, I get 60, add a 0. I'm going to get 7 this time, which is going to give me 56. 7 times 80, 560. Getting closer. Now I have 40 and 400, and this is going to be 5. Whew, finally. So that's not quite a percent, that's a decimal. So 0.0875 multiplied by 100, that's going to move my decimal spot 2 spots over. So I'm going to get 8.75%. Last one, we'll rewrite it over here. 46 over 200. So just to start, I know that I'm going to try to simplify it first so I get smaller numbers. So here I've got 23 over 100. Okay, now I'm going to try to do that just because I think that will be easier. 23 divided by 100. No, it doesn't go in. Add a 0, 2. Here's 200. 3. All right. 0.23. So my decimal 0.23, which is 23%. Since 2010, the population of Minneapolis has increased by 11.2%. Write that as a fraction in simplest form. Now, because it has increased, so if we stayed the same, if we were neutral, we always kind of start at 100%. So since it increased, I have to take 100% and add 11.2%. So 111.2%. And then if we wanted to write that as a fraction, we would say, okay, I'm going to move it over 2, divide it by 2. So I have 1.112. That's 1 and 112 over 1,000. And we can start to simplify that. So I think that there's an 8 in common here between them both. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to divide this by 8. I'm going to divide this by 8. This is my greatest common factor. And so I'm going to be left with 14 and 125ths. So 1 and 14 125ths. Four students surveyed their English classes asking, do you have a pet in your home? They reported the results as 0.35, 2/5, 30%, and 53%. Order them from least to greatest. So again, right now we've got apples and oranges. We got to get them all the same. So I notice I've got a percent here, a fraction, but I can turn that to a percent, and then a decimal that I can also turn to a percent. So I'm going to get all my answers as percents. So that means multiply by 100. So this is 35%. 2/5 I can multiply by 2 and get 4/10, which I know that 4/10 is the same as 40%. We already have 30% and we already have 53%. So if it says order from least to greatest, my smallest number is going to be 30%, and then it's going to be the 35, but that started as 0.35. And then it's going to be my 40%, which is really 2/5, 2/5. And then my largest answer was 53%. Okay, going to move on to the next lesson here. Next lesson is second part, Unit 5, Lesson 5. We can find a part of a proportion and a percent. We can find a whole amount. So just want to look at this model here, and you can see that this entire block is broke up into 4 chunks. 1, 2, 3, and then our fourth one. So considering that the entire thing is 100%, they broke it up into 25%, 50%, 75%, and 100%. Now, if we broke up 40 into equal chunks, we would have 10, 20, 30, and 40. So that's kind of how we can understand and look at this model is, hey, I can see that 30 is 75% of 40. Now, this one might be a little bit trickier because you're like, okay, well, if 100%, if this is 0% and this is 100%, I know that 100% is 245 and 65. So if this is 50, okay, maybe this is 50%, this is 60%, this is 70%, 65 would be right here. So we're trying to figure out, well, what's this number going to be? So I like to kind of try to set up a proportion. And so percentages are always out of 100. So I can set it up like this. I don't know what the number is, that's 65%, but I do know that the total, so again, if you look at kind of this idea, part to whole, that's what we're looking at. We're going to create a part over the whole thing. 65% is part of the whole thing, which is 100%. We're going to figure out what that X is, but the whole thing is 245. So we're just going to cross multiply and divide. So 24500 equals, oh wait, no, that's not right. 245 times 65 is 15,925, and that equals 100x. So when I divide the left and the right by 100, I get 159.25. So what number is 65% of 245? 159.25. What percent of 60 is 42? Round to the nearest tenth of a percent. So again, in this one, I know percents are always out of 100. I don't know what the percentage is, but again, thinking about part to whole, the whole thing is 60. I want to figure out what part is 52 of that 60. So we're going to cross multiply. 5200 equals 60x. Divide by 60. And I get 86 at 2/3, so x equals 86 and 2/3. But it does say to round to the nearest tenth of a percent. So that's like saying 86.666. Again, it's going to be repeating. So we would say that that is 86.7%. $207 is 46% of what number? So again, part to whole. I know I have the 46% is part of my 100, which is the whole. 207 is 46% of some number that I'm not sure. So that's why we need to put our x on the bottom, because again, the whole number is what we're trying to find. So this would be 20700 equals 46x divided by 46 on both sides. You should get 450 equals x. So again, it makes sense that my number is going to be more than 207 because 450 would be the total, or the 100%. Last example, in 2018, the total number of monthly active users of TikTok in the United States was 20 million. So again, this is a 33.3%. This is 33.3% of the number of monthly active users in 2020. How many monthly active users are there in 2020? So if we are thinking about, okay, in this case, I have 33%, 33.3 over 100 equals, and so I know that, hey, this number that I used was from 2018. That is only 33% of my new total. So that's why I put it on the bottom, is because we need to figure out what is our new number going to be. So cross multiplying, I'm going to get a lot of zeros here. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2 trillion equals 33.3x. Divided on both sides. Of course, you can use a calculator on this. Okay, these problems, please use a calculator. Divided by 33.3, and I get 6006060.06. So let's see here. We'll rewrite it. 60,060,060 and 0.06. We'll round that up to be an extra one. So how many users were there in 2020? There were 60,060,061. Let me clear that up. 60,060,061 TikTok users. Ooh, that's a lot.